Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to our session today on cybersecurity track, where we will be covering information gathering and social engineering. I will be having Clinton take us through the session today. Yeah, and thank you all for showing up, and hope to see you through the session. And in case you have a question, you can just raise up your hand, or you can just post it on the chat, and I will get back to it, and will help you with the question and your inquiries. Yeah, so Clinton, I guess I will leave it to you, and you can take over and take us through the session.
Thank you very much, Humphrey. My name is Clinton Otieno. I'm passionate about cybersecurity. I'm a Microsoft student ambassador, and I'm always happy to share the knowledge that I have with my peers and to those who are coming after us. So I would like to share my screen so that we are going to start with social engineering. So let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, you can see your screen.
Humphrey, can you unmute?
Yeah, let me do that. Okay, done. Yeah, go on.
Okay, I'm going to start with social engineering. Social engineering, many of us, we have undergone it. It's a way of gathering information from one person or another. So we have basic concepts on social engineering. I'm going to start with social engineering when you're going to information gathering, and we are going to see on the practical, some of the practical basics that we can use to gather information from networks and systems. So these are the basic concepts that we are going to cover. So from the introduction, as I've said, social engineering is something that majority of us we've undergone through. It's a scenario where someone uses a trick to gain information from you, and it can be exploiting the human nature, such as trust, the fear, and the desire. I'm going to go through the slides faster so that we go to the practical sessions, which will be more interactive, because with the slides I can share and you can read it on your own. So we have different types of social engineering. We have the human-based and the computer-based. So the human-based is where now it's more interaction, where I can approach Humphrey. I buy a drink to Humphrey, and with no time, Humphrey will start sharing more information, maybe as I ask him about his or her company. For the human-based social engineering, you like pose to be a legitimate user in a scenario where I think some of us, you've had a scenario where someone calls you and pretends that he's from Safaricom, he has sent you this money and all this and this. So that is one of the ways that social engineering attack happens, where you pose to be a legitimate user and then you gather information from the other the targeted person. So you can also pose as an important user. You can pose as a technical support where you have a company and a company has got different branches. So you go to another branch and you pose that I'm so and so, I've been sent from the main office and I've been sent to assist you in one or two issues. So use dropping is also another way of human-based social engineering, where you you gather information from two different people in terms of even their calls. And then shoulder surfing is where when someone is using his or her computer, you can come behind them and maybe gather information without their knowledge. And then dumpster diving is where you go to the dustbin, you check information there. So this dumpster diving is one way that majority of us are also not aware of, and it's a way in which more information are being gathered. So we have some different terms here that we are going to discuss. Tailgating is a scenario where I work in a company and I'm accessing the entrance. And after scanning my card or even my thumb, it depends with the biometrics that is in that organization. You follow me immediately without my knowledge because I'll assume the door will lock itself. So you immediately follow me behind and you gain access without my consent. So with the tailgating, we also have another one we know as piggybacking. Piggybacking is where now I know Humphrey, so I'll give him access knowingly, even though he's an authorized maybe employee or a person in that organization. So tailgating and piggybacking are two different concepts that they mostly confuse people. You find in tailgating, I give you access unknowingly, where you follow me immediately, and piggybacking is where I give you access knowingly, because maybe I know you're Tony, you're Humphrey, so reverse social engineering. This is where an attacker creates a persona that appears to be in a position of authority, so that employees ask more information about them. So computer-based social engineering, it can be carried out with the help of computers, where we have got different emails. Most of us, we've received a lot of spams. So these are the ways that computer-based social engineering happens. Another one, we have pop-up windows, where Windows suddenly pops up. These are more or less like the notifications that we receive. So the hoaxes on the chain, hoax letters are emails that issue warnings so that to users on a new virus, Trojan horses, and worms. So I'm going very fast because I want us to go into the practical session. So the phishing emails, this is something that majority of us have also gone through, where an illegitimate email claiming to be from a legitimate site, and then maybe I clone a site and then I share the site with you, the link with you, and I tell you that Tony, this is the site to this. This is the link to this site. So the link, maybe it's for Facebook. You are saying it's for Facebook, but there's 1 or 2 characters that have been changed because the site has been cloned. And then through that, you can be able to gather your credentials as you sign in into our site. We are going to see this one physically on the practical session. An insider attack is one attack that most companies are undergoing through, because it's also difficult to discover. Because Humphrey can be a CEO, is my boss. We work with him in the same organization. And he knows that Clinton cannot do such a thing. So this is one of the ways that most companies are suffering from, because they trust their employees, and you find an employee will do something that is not even recommended for them. So preventing insider attacks, there are different ways that we can prevent insider attacks. And then the common targets of social engineering, they're one of the most ways to gather information from an organization is receptionist. You know, people, you can even go to a reception and you ask more information about the company. And you find that There's one document that most people, most receptionists ignore. I can approach a company and I ask her or him about the minutes of their previous meetings. So such minutes, like they have a lot of information that majority of us are unaware of. And then apart from that, we have technical support executives, and then system administrators and users. So these are the common targets of social engineering, where people target so much to gather information about an organization for them to get the information they need. There's another way that people are getting information. Maybe, you know, printers. And if you go to most companies, printers are placed in corners. And then you find these printers, they are connected in a network. So I was reading a blog somewhere, and you find an organization was attacked with the access to printers, where most printers are placed in corners. So if I access the network, the printer network, I'll get the layout on how the building or the building is. And then you find the next time I visit the organization, I'll only even take 2 minutes, and I've seen, because I already have the knowledge and I've already accessed the printer networks. So I know how the layout is in the building. So whenever I come to the organization again, I won't even take long, and I will have seen how I will have confirmed in terms of whatever I saw in the network. So major attack vectors used by hackers, we have include the online telephone. A telephone here, we have got the IP phones that are in different offices. So personal approach threats, we have intimidation, persuasion, ingredient, and assistance. So warning signs of an attack is where an attacker may show inability to give a valid callback number, make informal request, and show haste, and solve unusual compliment or praise, and all that. So why social engineering is effective? Security policies are strong as its weakness link, and humans are then most susceptible factor. And then you find that difficult to detect social engineering at times. No method to ensure complete security from social engineering attacks. And you find most organizations are encouraged to train their employees on these security measures. Why companies are vulnerable to social engineering attack? You find that they don't train they are not offering training and awareness to their employees, and then the several organizational units, and then lack of appropriate security policies. You find some organizations, they revisit their policies like even monthly. Where I am, you find we change our password like after every 2 months. You'll get a notification for you to change your password, either for your machine or for the different sites that you access that belong to the organization. So some of these are the ways that we can enhance some of these social engineering attacks. Impact of social engineering attack to the organization, we have economic losses, damage of goodwill, loss of privacy, and loss of data, and all these. So risk assessment, you need to assess the level of risk that an attacker poses. You find when you are in the pen test, we have a severity level that you can see whether the risk is high, medium, or low. So I'm going so far so that we go to the practical session. So we have the countermeasures. I've explained this where we perform training, password policy, access privileges. We grant rights to every, like the administrator of these rights, the following person. We give access privileges to different person in regards to their level of access. So we have the identity theft countermeasures. these are the ways, the countermeasures that we should take. So secure or shred all documents containing private information. And the backup is also one way on which most organizations are using to secure their data. So review your credit card reports regularly and never let it go out of sight. So these are some of the measures that we take in order to ensure that we control the identity theft. Yeah, so far, any questions before we go to the practical side? Yeah, so we are going to the practical session to see how we can perform social engineering.
I can see there is a question from, I don't know, from in the chat. You can check it.
Let me check it. Yes, I will share the slides.
Can I ask the question, please?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the floor. Hello, everyone. I am Ash. I am joining from the Democratic Republic of Congo. This is my first time joining the Microsoft Students Ambassador meeting, and this is also my first time getting information from the cybersecurity domain. I was a little bit lost, but I would like just to know if there is a way to keep our keys or identities that we use when we connect on different platforms online on our computer without getting them so that other people cannot get them on our computer. Is there a way to keep them on our computer, or how can you advise so that we may keep them secure so that nobody can get them?
Okay, next question. You find that most of us, when we log in into a system and the machine is yours, after signing in, you'll get our prompt that you save or don't save your password. So you find majority of us, we save. Maybe we are accessing our emails for the first time in a computer, and then you save it in your machine. So you find that when you save it, so that next time you just come, you click your email, and you log in automatically, which is not advised, because today you can save, you can do the same, and then tomorrow you can assist Humphrey with your machine, forgetting that you didn't log out from your email. So these are the ways that you never know. These are the ways that someone can access your information with you without you knowing. Yet with you, you just know that Humphrey is a friend. So there's a site that I use. I don't know that I use to save my passwords. I don't write my passwords in a book. So it's known as Keylogger. You know, every time I access a site, I ensure that I use a different password. And with my memory, I'm still young, so I'm able to remember the passwords to every site that I sign up to. But I saw majority, some people are using a site known as Keylogger, where you only have got one password for the site, and you store all your passwords there. I don't know if I don't encourage it, but it's also a way of having your passwords in one site. But it's not advisable to write your password in a book or even in a notepad in your laptop or your phone. Yeah. Any question?
Yeah, I can see a hand up from Rael.
Yes,
Kyle,
right.
you can come off mute and ask a question.
Kevin is saying there seems to be so many social engineering strategies. How is cybersecurity officer supposed to keep track or mitigate the risk posed to users by the strategies at his or her organization at a high level? Is the recent Kenya Data Protection Act helpful in addressing some of these? Yes, Humphrey, it is helpful. You find nowadays, even before us posting your data online, we must ask you before doing that, because you can sue us for that. So you find the Data Privacy Act is really, it's working, it's being implemented. You can recall where Sauti Sol, if you are from Kenya, Sauti Sol had sued there's Mio team for using their song. So it's something that it's working. Yeah. Any question? I think we can now go to the practical session for the social engineering. Is it okay, Humphrey? Because I'm seeing no. Yeah.
But there is one coming from Barra, I don't know what's up. And there is one also from Kevin. Don't know which one is about the first question.
Okay, Kevin, how the cybersecurity officer is supposed to mitigate the risk posed to users? One thing that is highly encouraged is if you're in an organization, it's not everyone who is illiterate in terms of technology. So performing training and cybersecurity awareness in an organization is also something that is really encouraged. And then you find when you use Azure Active Directory, you find there are different access rights that you can grant. You can implement in an organization to prevent all these. So that you as the superadmin, you give privileges to different users within your organization. Any other question?
Can I ask a follow-up question on that?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
I was asking because, maybe let's say like currently, for example, for the organization that I work for, we recently conducted a cybersecurity training and also made the users in the organization to at least take a cybersecurity awareness course online, just to ensure that they ground their knowledge on that. And I can say that right now, most of the users are maybe bringing their own devices. Like it's quite difficult to manage somebody's phone, somebody's laptop, or something of that sort. And sometimes usually get, for example, if it's an email, usually get maybe if it's being run by an email provider service, you're getting that there's user reported phishing activity. There's maybe a certain link that somebody clicked, but the spam filters or maybe the systems protected the user from being hacked or something through social engineering and something of that sort. So my question is these strategies are so many. I mean, the strategies somebody can be hacked are so many. For example, like the one for minutes or something.
Yeah, you find that in most organizations, you cannot even. There is something that has been configured in their networks. We call it access control list, where you find there are different sites that have been blocked, or you can access maybe Facebook from 5 p.m. in the evening to the following day, 8 a.m. And then you find there are some sites that have been literally blocked in the likes of torrents. You cannot download movies via their networks. And you find most banks have also implemented where when you access the environment, you can only access the internet using the Ethernet cable, and you find different ports have been blocked. So these are some of the ways that most organizations are enhancing security within their environment. So you find one is blocking the sites. Two is I saw an organization where there's no Wi-Fi. It was a bank. There's no Wi-Fi. And you only use their computers. Like most organizations currently, when you go and work there, they give you their own laptop. Their own laptop is registered in a domain. So in a domain, they give you access rights where you cannot even install an application. So before you install an application, you must come to the administrator for him to put a password for you. And the administrator will only put a password for you after checking which application you want to install. So these are some of the strategies that most organizations are using to ensure that security is enhanced so much within different organizations. So I think, Kevin, I've answered your question.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome.
So sorry, I have also a follow.
Yes, Ash.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question.
Yes, you can ask. Any other question before we go to the practical?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm all good now. I wanted to ask, when you talk about the way we use our passwords and we don't log out on our devices.
Yeah. Yes, please go on. Oh, nice. Who can tell us the difference? I was in a certain. Sorry?
Maybe she's gone. Maybe I would like to ask. I'm sorry, I was muted without knowing.
Oh, no
So
problem.
I was saying this. Can the system, whether Windows or Linux, or the hardware, can it help? Can it help in the protection, preventing from hackers to get access on our data or on our passwords and credentials?
100% no. It can't. To a certain point, it can. And you find even Windows now has Windows Defender, because majority of us, we don't install antivirus. So Windows Defender, they bring new patches, like in terms of even weekly or daily. So it's also advisable. You see, majority of us, we don't update our machines. So these are the ways that you can also, like Kevin, it's also good to tell your employees that they should always update their machine, because we have different security patches that are being updated by Microsoft. So this is also another way that you can implement as you train your employees under cybersecurity awareness.
Okay, and maybe also to add on that, okay, I attended a session somewhere, and it came to a point that there was this situation that the antivirus now they aren't safe anymore. They have been rendered useless. They are dead, because you find that someone has created a script that can bypass all the protection.
There's a scenario where I was in a certain it was an institution, and then I was talking to someone. He was having a shop around, and he was telling me that majority, so many students from this institution are bringing their machines, and you find their hard disk is really failing. So these are some of the attacks that it's even happening, because I was telling you, maybe it's the network of the institution. Because you find, he was telling me in a week he could replace like over 10 hard disks from different students. So the solution that we took is we went to the administrator of the institution and we advised him on how to enhance the security of the network. Because you find almost every week 10 students were replacing their hard disk or their machines. So these ways are really important to implement so that we should be safe. So I think I'll go to the practical session. Can you see my screen, Humphrey?
Yeah, it's up. You can see your screen.
So the practical session, we are going to do a practical session under social engineering. And I'm using Parrot. You can also use Linux. So whatever I've done is I've gone to the root directory. So we want to check more on the social engineering aspect. So after, you can write the commands, maybe if you like to try it later. So the command is SE toolkit. After going to the root directory, and then from here, it will now just prompt me to select. So I'll select number 1, which is social engineering attack. So after this, I'll select website attack vectors. So I'm going to number 2. After this, I'll select number 3 because I want to harvest the credentials. Okay, so here I want to clone the site. Are we together until that point? Anyone lost? Or maybe I can do it and then maybe we can share the commands later. Or if you have a problem, we can organize a session with you and maybe perform this. So it's prompting me to enter the site that I want to clone. We can do Facebook, Twitter, any. So let me do Facebook. www.facebook.com. Long I access Facebook. I hope this is the right spelling. Humphrey.
Yeah. That you can read that.
So when I come to my Mozilla Firefox, I want to access Facebook with its URL. I'm going to access Facebook with this address. So I'm going to access it with this address. Are we together until that point? So you've seen I've accessed Facebook using an IP address. I've cloned the site. Now you find as I log in down here, it's also reading. Like you can see previously we were somewhere here. So it has prompted me to somewhere where it's going to show me the password that I'm going to use and the username. Are we together until that point?
Yeah, we are together.
Yeah. So Barua Pepe, you can convert it into English. I don't know how. Where is it? Checking on how I can convert this to English because we have someone from Congo. Or I hope he understands English. Kiswahili, sorry.
Maybe when can
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can you scroll down?
yeah.
Scroll down. Scroll.
I understand Swahili, no problem, no problem.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to use like I enter my username, and then I enter my password. So after doing this, you'll find that I'll see the credentials on my terminal as I sign in. I'm using an organization's network, so it won't allow me. But when you do it on your end, you are able, if you enter your password, you're able to see the username on the password. So this is how I can capture the credentials of Humphrey. I can share this link with Humphrey. Humphrey will join, knowing it's a legitimate link. And as he joins Facebook or signs in into Facebook, I can capture his credentials from my end. And then you'll find I'll also sign in from my end. And this is how people are even posting these bad pictures to your accounts. These are some of the ways that people are using to gather more information. After cloning a site, they share the site with you. You sign in, they capture your credentials. Yeah, and they're well, like they can terrorize you in any way possible. Any question until that point?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Because I've seen that the URL it's kind of like a local URL. Is there a way to send it like an HTTPS something like that and then www.facebook.com?
It will come, but it won't have the S because it's not a secure site.
It's not a secure. Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we can now move to information gathering. With information gathering, I don't have a slide. We are just going to do the practical aspect of it. And I'm going to open a new tab, and we are going to check different ways on how to gather information from a site, from a network, from a system, and all those. So there is a default way. Who is, like I can ask you, Ash, like who is Ash? So you find when I do this, and then I put a site like Bulb Security. This is a site that I like using when I'm doing these practical sessions in terms of even learning on my side, so that I should not tamper with anyone's website. So when you enter the command, who is Bulb Security, it's like a website. So you find it will show me the domain name, all the details about the bulbsecurity.com. So here I'm able to see the domain name. I'm able to see the registry domain name ID, the host server. I'm able to see the URL. Like I'm able to gather some information from that site. Are we together until that point? I hope I'm not going that fast. So there's also another way to gather information from a DNS server. It's known as DNS reconnaissance. So it's a way of gathering information regarding DNS servers and their records. So we use a command line tool known as NSLOOKUP. So when you do NSLOOKUP, let me just do the NSLOOKUP first without putting any site. Sorry. So when you do NSLOOKUP and then we enter site NSLOOKUP, just a minute. And then we use the same site again, Bulb Security. So I'm able to know the server IP address. I'm able to find this information regarding the server of the Bulb Security. So these are some of the ways that we gather information from different systems, different websites, different sites, different networks. So you find with the cybersecurity, it's always good to keep track, because at the end, an organization, after doing maybe a pen test to a system, to an organization, they'll tell you to give them a report. It's always good after the session, you give a report. So you find when I want to now, I've gathered information, so I want to store it. I want to store it like a file, so that it can assist me during the time that I'll be writing my report. So NS lookup, then maybe we are going to use another site like scanme.nmap.org or scanme, any site. So we can use scanme. We just use bulb. Security.com, and then we put these forward slashes, and then we say results.txt. So this one we are saving it to the desktop. So you find when I come to my desktop here, I'm able to see the file. The text page. So I'm able to see a file here, and this can help me in terms of writing my report at the end. So there's another, there's a way that we have MX where we can also use NS lookup to get MX record. MX record are the mail exchange that directs emails to a mail server. So I just close this. I use another terminal. Next lookup, then I set the type. It's not a must for you to cram the commands. These are things that as you do, you can maybe save them somewhere. And as you gather your information, you can use them. So I've said it is a way of using NS lookup to get the MX record, and then we save them to the we save it to a mail server. So we are going to check on how we can do a port scan. A port scan is also another way we can get the open ports. And then in a port scan, I believe majority of us, during our undergraduate, we've undergone, we learned something known as three-way handshake. Have we done that? Where we have got the sync, acknowledgement, and all that. Any feedback from your end?
On my end, I've never heard about that really.
Okay. I don't know how I can explain. It's a communication. Three-way handshake is a communication on a network where you, after sending maybe a packet, you get an acknowledgement, synchronization. It's all about synchronization and making acknowledgement that you have received a certain request or a certain packet. There's a slide. I don't know where it is now, but I'm going to share with you this one, Ash, so that you can go through it after the session. Will this be fine with you, Ash?
Yeah, you can. Even all the commands that you have been from on my side, they didn't. Most of them they were saying server can't find the bulk security, and I let them go. Maybe after the session you will share them.
Yes,
so
I will.
they can help as well.
Yeah. So port scanning helps you to find which systems are active and which software we can talk to. So this is where the three-way handshake implies, and we can read more about the three-way handshake after this. And then here we are going to use the Nmap tool in order to get more information. So you find when you do Nmap, then we do help, it will show us all the options that we need to know about Nmap. So you'll see here, like it will tell us these are some of the abbreviations that we are going to use, where A means the OS detection, and then V is the version, that the system is using. So here we want to do a scan to a system by using either an IP address. I hope all of us you've ever had a tool known as Nmap. I hope I'm not speaking Greek or something new. Hi. Hello.
Yeah, there's some feedback on the chat.
So you can, yeah, you can share them, Humphrey, because I'm unable to see the chat now. Okay. So Nmap, and this one means the arrangement on how I want to arrange my data. Then my IP address, if you can recall, on top there, my IP address was it's 10.2.15. Are we following? I said these commands should not scare you. These are things that you cannot master all of them. I also learn daily, and I've also saved some of them somewhere. Are we okay with that? And then I'll do the work. So this one can tell me the open port. Is it? So like it has scanned a number of ports where the number of ports goes until, is it 65,000 and something? I'm not sure. So these are the number of ports that it has scanned. But it's not giving me, okay. It's telling me that port 8 is open. Such information are the resources that most attackers are using. When they gather your IP address, they get to know the open ports that they can maybe use to access your resources. So like you see here, it's telling me that under my IP address, this port is open. So I think up to that point, there's no one who is lost. Any question from your side?
No, I don't guess there is any question on the chat. Maybe if there is one, someone can ask or post it on the chat. Yes, right.
Yes, there's a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I had an earlier question. When you were talking about the WHOIS and DNS servers, that section,
Yes. Yes, please go on, Rai.
Maybe she's muted.
Oh, she's muted.
sorry, I think it's just muting me without me knowing, sorry. My question is, when we, I don't know what is happening, it keeps muting me. The question I was asking is on WHOIS and the DNS server side.
Yeah.
Now that the information is accessible to anyone, are there options of preventing that data, or what is the option that we have on securing that data?
So that one depends with the network administrator of the organization. For him to ensure that all ports are closed, there's no open port. The server IP address is maybe encrypted, no one can see it. So it depends with the network administrator of the organization for him to implement the appropriate security features, maybe in the network or the system. And then you find when you do SQL injection, you even find the exact database that maybe if the website that you've created, it will even show me the administrator password. Like we can organize a next session with Humphrey and we'll invite you on how to do SQL injection. And you'll find there, I'm even in a position to see the database you used to create your website, the administrator password. So it's like I have a control over your website. So these are some of the things that majority of us who are web developers here, we don't take into consideration. After developing your site, give it to a pen tester, let him run different tests or her, so that you get some of these open things that can bring your site down. So you find if you are the administrator and I'm able to perform an SQL injection into your website, I get all the credentials, I even know the database you're using, the IP address, the password of the administrator. I can log into the site as the administrator and niangushe hata database. If yeah, so it's possible. So these things, it's majority of us, we are focusing on the development and we are forgetting the security side of it. Yeah. So it's a session that we'll organize with Humphrey and we'll do it with you people. And you'll see a way on how we can perform SQL injection. Yeah, so I think it's Humphrey will tell you when we can have the session.
Okay, the reason I was asking is I'm one of those people you've described, and I have projects which I'm going into from today, and I would really be interested to network or co-work with people, like as you mentioned, a tester or someone who can be doing that for me to be able to secure my clients' websites and all that. I would be really glad.
Okay, fine, we will. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Humphrey will plan on that, yeah.
Okay.
Any other question? Okay, I think if there's no question, I'll leave it to Humphrey. It was a beginner session. We don't have to go much in depth because I even saw when I was doing the practical session, people were so quiet. So you can digest that for today. And then let me assure you, we'll keep on learning. And yeah, I encourage Humphrey to keep on inviting me for such sessions. Thank you.
So sorry, before leaving, there is a final question.
Yes, please.
Great. From your experience, can you give us some tips on the way to make our passwords or credentials so that we may be able to retain them without keeping them in browsers? Because you give us the advice that keeping them in browsers is not secure and it can lead to hackers can get them easily in that way. Is there the way you use to form them so that you may be able to change them easily and retain them without forgetting them?
Okay, thank you, Ash. It's advisable that when you create a password, you find that most sites will tell you that the password should be like 6 characters and above. It's always good to use symbols. I'm one person who, when I create a password, I use the lowercase, the uppercase, a digit, a number, then I use a symbol. So you find such are the ways you can estimate. Like I can estimate, I see Humphrey, and I see maybe Humphrey has set his password maybe to be Humphrey and the year he was born. So it's true that Humphrey has set his password as Humphrey, 1999, 2000, 1998. And that way is his password. So I can just see and estimate. And then when you find he has used the uppercase and the lowercase. So you'll find I'll also estimate that majority of people use @ or exclamation mark to set their password. So I'll check on Humphrey. Humphrey maybe is about 99, 2000, 1998 there. So I'll put his name, I put his year of birth, and then I estimate exclamation or @ the symbols. So it's always good to interchange these things in a way that someone cannot just see you and give a direct gaze to your password. Okay, so maybe I know Humphrey's relative. Okay, and majority of us, we set our password using the year we were born or the year we graduated, and the year you graduated, maybe you posted on LinkedIn. So these are the ways that attackers use. And let me tell you, attacker will never get tired until he or she gathers the information that they want from you. It's always known as slow but sure. So today I'll do something, it has not worked. It's okay. Tomorrow I do the same, it has not worked. It's okay. So it's always good to take precautions before getting indulged into this. There's something that is currently happening in Facebook. You find yourself, you've been tagged into dirty pictures, dirty videos. It's something that it's really happening. It's really happening currently. And it's the same videos that you find you get tagged on. How many of us have experienced that? Hi.
I had, but I no longer use Facebook actually. But I was getting some sort of videos. I am not into that those kind of videos, but I was getting them, and I was asking myself, how am I getting them?
Yeah, so it's something, Ash, that currently it's happening. It's happening so much. And then can I ask you a question? What can you do if you find yourself into such scenario? What is the first step that you can do when you find you've been hacked?
Changing the password. That is the wrong thing to do. So
Yes, correct. I was in a certain session yesterday, and we were doing some. It's a program that we are running currently, and I invited someone, and then I was telling her that majority will also opt out for deleting their accounts. Like Ash opted to leave Facebook, Okay, so what if you've been hacked, but you still need the site? Anana said you change the password. So these are the basics that you can also use. It's like a machine. Someone will come to you and will tell you his machine is hanging. You don't know the exact, so you'll start by troubleshooting it, deleting the cache, recycle bin, the temporary files, checking the hard disk storage. You maybe recommend an SSD for them. Like, you just do these steps in order to ensure that at long last you'll maybe gain some percentage of whatever you are targeting. Yeah. Yes or none?
I think you can also disconnect your account from sites you are logged in or games or sessions that are active. I think that will disconnect if someone else is connected somewhere or bot or something is connected to your account. That will stop it.
Yeah. And I'll also borrow you your machine. I go to your history. I go to your search history. I'll see all the sites. So it's always even good to clear your search history and all that. If I come today and I see that you like accessing this site, I borrowed you your machine. But then one thing in cybersecurity, I don't trust anyone. It's not good. It's not good to trust. Everyone. Trust is earned, but even though it is earned, under if it's social media things and all these, never trust anyone. So you give me your machine, you saved your passwords, like you sign into a site, it will prompt you save or don't save. So being that you're still young and you think maybe you'll forget the password, so you say save. I come, I want to access Facebook, it will just prompt me direct to the site. I won't even need to log in. So I have to log out again for me to log in with my credentials. So if I have access to your search history and you save your password in your machines, I can easily view your passwords. I can be one man who is performing cyberbullying to you. I've accessed your password, I've accessed your machine, I've gone to your Google Drive, I can see all your images, okay? And some images, maybe you are not fully dressed. And I use this aspect to get money from you. Who can tell us the difference between ransomware attack and cyberbullying? Are they the same? Anan?
No, they are not the same. Cyberbullying is when it's just annoying that person, but a ransomware attack, you can take control of the device and ask for money or something in exchange for access.
Yeah. Ransomware is where I take a complete control over your device. Like you cannot do anything. And then cyberbullying is, so if you'll give, fine. And if you are maybe, Anan, if you get involved in this, I ask you for money, will you send it? It's I tell you that this and this, or I'm posting this information online. I need this amount of money. Which is the first scenario that you can take, the first step.
When someone takes control of, say, my machine, for example.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I think you will just count your losses unless you had a lot of money invested in something. So the best thing you can do is just to count your losses, because most of them, they won't give back. Or it's hard.
Yeah.
Or if it's something serious like security, your security, you can contact the authorities. Although locally they may think you are crazy or something, but you can just try that, because it's not easy.
Yeah, it's true. And guys, it's good to back up your data. I'm one person whom I'm doing Azure currently. I'm also advocating for Azure as a cloud platform. So don't think that Azure is also giving some cloud platform where you pay as you go. You only pay for whatever you use. I see some of you when after using your Gmail is full, you create another Gmail. Those are life hacks if you, yeah, but it's not recommended. It's good you buy your own cloud storage, but majority are doing that. If your Gmail account storage is full, you create another one. I advise you also create a OneDrive under the Microsoft. You can also get some storage there. So backing up of data is something really good. Then you find you can leave your machine. I can have an access to Anand's machine. Anand has a password. It won't take me long to get into the machine because I can use a software known as Hirems, and I want to delete any data. I'll access that machine as the administrator. I access Anand's machine data. After that, I've not even struggled. So it's good for you to keep an eye on your devices. And I also encourage you to always use backups for reference. Yeah, and you find that Azure is making it easier for us, or this cloud platform, the AWS, Azure, and the Google, they're making it easier for us where if I leave my machine, maybe I stay in Nairobi and I go to Mombasa, I'm still able to access my data using another device, even when I'm in Mombasa. So backing up our data on the cloud is something that we really advocate for as Microsoft Student Ambassador. So I think I'm done, unless there's any other question. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no question. I'd like just to remind you to not forget to share the slides as well as the command that you use for the practical parts.
Okay. I hope you can share your emails with Humphrey, and Humphrey is going to share that with you. I hope.
Is he the one? Is he the one who
invited? Yeah. Who shared the link with you? Yeah.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Yeah. So he is going to see the attendees. Then he'll share the link with you, the resources with you. So thank you guys. I really appreciate. I've learned a lot from you, and I'm looking forward to do more of this with you. Thank you very much, Humphrey. I really appreciate for the invite, and I'm looking forward to another invite where we can do the SQL injection and many more. Thank you.
So, okay, thank you, Clinton, for such a wonderful presentation. Yeah, we really appreciate it. Hope everyone has learned something, and for our security and our information security purposes. Even I myself, I've come up with 1 point or 2 on how to secure my passwords. Yeah. So I thank everyone for showing up for this session, and I appreciate really for your time and also for sparing your time being on a weekend to be here to learn. Yeah. So I'll be sharing the recording and the slides with you.